Blade and Sorcery is a popular virtual reality game that came out in December 2018 and has since spent 5.5 years in early access. And despite all of that time in early access, Blade and Sorcery has become one of the best virtual reality games to own. But now, Blade and Sorcery has finally came out of early access, with the 1.0 update dropping June 17th, which is today as I am recording this. In fact, it only dropped an hour and a half ago and I just had a really good experience with it right now. I didn't get to experience everything there was to see in the launch trailer because there is so much that you have to do and there is so much that you have to relearn that it's just impossible to experience all of that in the space of an hour. But in this video I am going to go over all of the changes, including the ones that I have seen so far and the ones that I haven't seen so far. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Blade and Sorcery 1.0, the update that finally brings the game out of early access. So before we do dive into anything like this, I do think it is important to say that this is the last massive update that this game is going to have. And in all honesty, it is probably for the best. Because what this means is that if people make mods for the game, then they don't have to update those mods for future versions. They can just make a mod and it'll work with this version of the game. And if you know the modding community like I do, you'll know that the modding community comes up with some crazy ass stuff sometimes. So this actually gives modders more of an incentive to create mods for Blade and Sorcery because those mods aren't going to become outdated in years to come. Plus, we have more than enough base game content to last us for ages. Okay, so getting into the 1.0 update, I think the first thing we should talk about is the new game mode Crystal Hunt. This is a game mode that has been talked about by the community and the developers for a long period of time. And now finally being able to play it, it is unbelievably good. Now this is a game mode that lets you find out a lot of things for yourself, and because of that, I did not really get very far. However, I did end up raiding an outpost dungeon, which got me some sweet loot, which I'll come on to later. The entire objective of the Crystal Hunt game mode is to go around and hunt crystals in order to use for upgrading your skills. Which brings me on to my next point. There is a new skill tree system which has 78 different skills for you to unlock using crystals that you find on your excursions. Now what I think is really cool about these skills, and this was actually mentioned in the update notes, is that you can combine these different skills to do a lot of crazy different things, such as stopping time, stopping gravity, and throwing things while stopping time and gravity, just like Quicksilver. And this isn't even scratching the surface of what is possible in this new update. Different skills do cost a different amount of crystals, and I'm not too sure how all of the skills work at this point of time. All I know is that it costs 0 crystals to unlock the slow-mo thing, and about 3 crystals to unlock things such as anti-gravity and different abilities to do with that. Another cool thing that they have added in to do with all of this Crystal Hunt nonsense is that they have added in an item shop so you can unlock new weapons to use against enemies. This is paid for by collecting currency and different items that you find on your excursions at the outpost, and there are now a much wider range of weapons for you to try out. The update notes state that there are 76 different weapons, not including things like arrows, quivers and other stuff like that, so 76 weapons in the base game is phenomenal. Moving on from the Crystal Hunt game mode now, the Dalgarian dungeon is a brand new dungeon that has been added into the 1.0 update and it looks incredible. This is based around the race of the Dalgarian people who have now gone extinct. Oh yeah, also there's a lot more lore to this game now, which is everybody loves lore. And what makes this stage stand out in comparison to stages like Outpost is the sheer scale of it. It is huge. And it's not only new stages that have been added, there is a new enemy. The new enemy is a massive golem that the community calls Hector for some reason. I don't know why, but I really like that name. And he is unlike anything you have ever faced in Blade and Sorcery before. Hector is one of those things that you have to experience for yourself to truly appreciate him and his abilities. Now, the update notes don't want to spoil much, and I don't want to spoil much either, so go into Blade and Sorcery and experience it for yourself. And at this point now, I just want to take the opportunity to just go back to when I was talking about lore before a little bit, because the lore that has been put into this update is on a massive scale. Like, a lot of things in the game have such intricate and little details that contribute to the whole lore and the story of Blade and Sorcery. And you can tell the development team have been working tirelessly to pull all of this together. There are going to be some absolute psychopaths in the community who are going to piece every single little bit of detail in this game all together ever, and it is going to be amazing. So on top of the weapons, another thing that they've gone full detail into is the armor that you can wear. There are 90 different pieces of armor that comprise 10 different suits. And these suits of armor aren't just for cosmetic, they actually serve a purpose. So heavier armor like knight armor is going to serve you more protection from hits, while other pieces of armor such as the mage armor is going to allow you to cast spells faster. And you can even mix and match different pieces of armor from different sets to gain different abilities and balance out the different abilities that these armor sets give you. Another thing that they have changed for the 1.0 update is the sandbox arenas, especially Ruins. I think Ruins was voted unanimously by the community as the least favourite map, so that got a complete overhaul, while the other maps had a bit of an overhaul just so it blends into the lore a bit more, which honestly is very nice to see. There is also a brand new inventory system which takes the place of a very confusing 3D shape that is on your chest, and it is honestly incredible for quality of life. This is the place where you will stash your crystals, you will stash your loot, you'll stash some other things, and yeah, it just makes everything so much easier. And finally, out of all the major updates, there is status effects. What this basically means is that there are stage interactables such as like a fire pit where you can throw enemies into them, and if they are in there long enough they will start to catch fire. And because of this new under the hood ability, it basically means that with status effects and different spells you can make enemies catch fire, they'll begin to get charred, and it just adds to so many different possible ways that you can kill your enemies, as well as adds a bit of realism into the game. Also, there's a journal where you can keep up with all the lore pieces that you have collected. So that is pretty much it for all the major updates, but what about the minor updates? Well, I don't want to take so much of your time with all of these, so I'm just going to rattle them off very quickly, and if you really want, you can look at the patch notes yourself. Okay, so just to name a few of the minor updates, there are more varied enemy mages, there are new enemy voices and dying sounds, there are cross-elemental merges, there is a new tutorial, home persistence, which is basically if you have an object in your home, it will stay there. There is a stash system, they have made some sandbox enhancements, they have made some graphical enhancements, and they have also continued optimization for the game. There are also more cheats for you to use, including cheats on crystal hunt mode. There is a mod manager quality of life feature. They have added credits so you can see all the lovely people who have worked on this game, and they have added localization for up to 11 languages. Woo, that is a lot of updates. So, and with all of that, that brings the end of the major updates that will come into this game. There are still going to be things like bug fixes down the line, but no updates that are going to start breaking mods, which is fantastic. So yeah, that is pretty much everything that comes with the 1.0 update for Blade and Sorcery. I just want to end this video with a massive congratulations to Warpfrog on a sensational game that I've enjoyed playing for a couple of years now. Thank you so much for everything. If you did enjoy this video, then it would be highly appreciated if you could leave a like. Also, check out some of my other content. I guarantee you will love it if you love VR. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.